Hamas has given initial approval for a US-backed proposal for a phased truce deal in Gaza, marking a shift in their position. They have dropped the demand for Israel to commit upfront to a complete end to the war. According to officials, the deal will include a 6-week ceasefire with the release of captives in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. During this period, Israeli forces would withdraw from densely populated areas of Gaza, allowing displaced people to return to their homes. As negotiations for the truce proceed, the humanitarian situation in Gaza remains dire. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees reports that children in Gaza spend 6 to 8 hours daily collecting water and food, facing significant hardships. Sanitation facilities are severely compromised, with many relying on seawater for basic needs. The agency has called for a ceasefire to address these issues. Adding to the crisis, the Ministry of Health in Gaza has highlighted the impact of the ongoing fuel shortage on health institutions. The lack of fuel affects the operation of generators, oxygen stations, and medicine storage. Many hospital departments have suspended operations and strict austerity measures are in place. The ministry has appealed for urgent fuel supplies to keep essential services running. The media has not been spared in the conflict. Gaza's government media office has confirmed the identities of 5 journalists killed by Israel in the past 24 hours. This brings attention to the increasing risks faced by journalists covering the situation on the ground. Meanwhile, the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reports that about 80,000 people have been displaced from eastern Gaza City following an Israeli military operation and evacuation order. 𝐒𝐭𝐨𝐫 has called for an end to the war, emphasizing the challenges aid organizations face in supporting the displaced. The Health Ministry in Gaza states that at least 38,098 Palestinians have been killed and 87,705 injured in Israel's military offensive since October 7. This includes 87 deaths in the past 48 hours, underscoring the ongoing violence. In a harrowing account, Palestinian detainees have reported that shortly after their release from an Israeli detention center, Israeli forces targeted them, resulting in numerous deaths. Survivors, including Fareed Sob and Mahmoud Abu Taha, recounted being tortured and then attacked with grenades and drone missiles upon their release. The conflict has also heavily impacted Gaza's police force. Gaza's police have condemned the targeting of their personnel by Israeli forces, leading to multiple casualties. A recent attack in Rafah resulting in the death of Colonel Faiz Abdul Al and injuries to several others. The police statement highlighted the violation of international law and the chaotic conditions in Gaza due to the war. Additionally, 6 policemen were killed in a separate bombardment in Rafah and 1 person was killed in a bombing of a police car in Gaza's Al-Shakush area. Former PMLN leaders Mufti Ismail and Shahid Khan Abbasi have formally launched a new party named Awam Pakistan. The launch took place at a ceremony in Islamabad. The leaders emphasized that the party is open for all to join, aiming to steer the country out of its ongoing crisis.
कि हर पाकिस्तानी का हक है आगे बढ़ने का और रियासत का फर्ज है उसका हाथ पकड़ के आगे लेके जाए और हर पाकिस्तानी को उसकी जिंदगी पे कुदरत होनी चाहिए। हर पाकिस्तानी का जिंदगी के फैसले वो खुद करे, ना कि उसके इलाके के बड़े। तो फिर आप हमारा साथ दीजिए और हम आपका साथ देंगे और इंशाअल्लाह आवाम पाकिस्तान को पाकिस्तान के कोने-कोने में लेकर जाएंगे और आगे बढ़ाएंगे।
The PTI has postponed its planned power show in Islamabad's Tarnol, initially scheduled for 6 p.m. today. This decision follows the cancellation of the non-objection certificate by the district administration.
अदालत से ही हमें एनओसी मिली थी, इसलिए हमने फॉर द टाइम बीइंग आज के मुनक़दा जलसा जो 6 बजे आज 6 जुलाई को होने जा रहा था, तहफ़्फ़ुज़ आईनी पाकिस्तान के ज़ेर निगरानी, उस जलसे को आज हम पोस्टपोन कर रहे हैं।
Earlier this week, PTI had approached the Islamabad High Court to secure the NOC, which was reportedly granted. However, the Islamabad administration later issued a press release citing security issues as the reason for revoking the NOC. In Kashmore, Pakistan Rangers and Sindh police rescued 3 Hindu businessmen from the Bio gang in a riverine area. The operation resulted in the deaths of 2 suspects, including the gang's mastermind and his brother, while 5 others Other suspects were injured but managed to escape. The gang was known for multiple kidnappings and other crimes. Search operations are ongoing for the fleeing suspects. The Punjab government has imposed Section 144 across the province for the first 10 days of Muharram. This measure aims to prevent potential threats to public order. The order includes a ban on innovations at processions, display of arms, hate speeches, and distribution of sectarian material. Spectators are prohibited from occupying rooftops along procession routes, and pillion riding is banned from Muharram 7 to 10, with exceptions for senior citizens, women, and law enforcement. The provincial government has also requested the assistance of 150 companies from the Pakistan Army and Rangers to maintain law and order. Additionally, there is a pending request to suspend 6 social media platforms during Muharram, with a final decision expected from Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Iran's President-elect Masoud Pezeshkian has pledged to serve all Iranians in his first remarks after defeating Saeed Jalili in the election runoff. Pezeshkian, seen as a centrist, secured nearly 16.4 million votes, while Jalili received about 13.5 million. Pezeshkian called for unity, saying, "The difficult path ahead will not be smooth except with your companionship, empathy, and trust." Jalili conceded defeat, urging support for the new president. Small groups of Pezeshkian supporters celebrated the victory. Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated Pezeshkian, while Western leaders have yet to respond. The voter turnout was 49.8%. Pezeshkian was the only moderate candidate in a field of 4, promising to open Iran to the world. The election followed a June 28 ballot with historically low turnout after Ibrahim Raisi's death in a helicopter crash in May. Pezeshkian is expected to take office within 30 days, pending his resignation from parliament and endorsement by Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Analysts suggest Pezeshkian might promote a pragmatic foreign policy and ease tensions over the stalled nuclear deal negotiations. Both candidates promise to revive the economy, which has been struggling due to mismanagement and sanctions reimposed after the US exited the nuclear deal in 2018. Pezeshkian faces challenges from Iran's political establishment, and the outcome of the US presidential election in November could impact future relations. Pezeshkian will be tasked with implementing policies outlined by Khamenei, who holds ultimate authority in Iran. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that his government will not continue the previous Conservative administration's policy of deporting asylum seekers to Rwanda. The policy, approved by Parliament in April, had declared Rwanda a safe third country, despite a UK Supreme Court ruling that deemed the scheme unlawful on human rights grounds. Detentions of asylum seekers under this policy began in May. Former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak had strongly advocated for the policy, aiming to stop migrants and asylum seekers arriving on small boats from mainland Europe. In April, Sunak had stated, "No ifs, no buts, these flights are going to Rwanda." In recent years, tens of thousands of asylum seekers, many fleeing wars and poverty in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, have reached Britain by crossing the English Channel in small boats, often organized by people smuggling gangs.